It's a little after 9. I'd like to call the Alpena County Facilities meeting to order for February 18th, 2026. Stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We had a chance to take a look at the agenda. Any additions or corrections to the agenda?
Make a motion that we approve the agenda.
Support.
Moved by John, supported by Brenda. Agenda's approved. Public comment. Is anybody here for public comment?
Hi there, I'm Courtney Tarianen. I'm the president of the Alpena County Fair Board. We're here just to kind of talk about a fundraiser that we're hoping to be able to do in the upcoming month to be able to help fundraise some money to be able to put cement in the sheep and goat barn this year on the fairgrounds. So what we're looking to do is we're hoping to be able to host two outside of fair bump and runs. So we're looking at doing one potentially on March 14th, which is a Saturday. That would be at 2 p.m. And again, one in June. We're tentatively looking at the date of June 6th, which is a Saturday, and that would be at 6 p.m. As far as cost to the county, there should be absolutely none. So we're going to get porta potties delivered, so we won't be using the county facility. We will be looking at getting our own dumpster. And if we had any vendors come in, we would require them to use generators. So if anyone has any questions about that, I'd be happy to answer them, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Just so board knows, we got that request just recently, and if I have your permission, I'd like to put that on for the agenda for Tuesday for your consideration. That's all right.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Sure.
Me too.
Thank you. Logan.
So, IT department is requesting the media room be added to the IT office to give us more space for our office staff and for any expansion that we might have in our office in the future. And then I had a drawing that I provided with a rough layout of what we were thinking of. Basically, we'd be adding one wall to the west of the meeting room and then adding a few doors. And then moving our door, the hallway, into a new door frame. And I've been working with Nick on getting some pricing together on that. But
Do we have an idea what this would cost?
Right now, I'm just about $4,000, and that includes the drywall being doubled on all the new walls. They requested rock wool to put in the new walls for sound dampening, insulation in the ceiling. I believe it's a solid core door they requested. I think the only thing that I didn't put in there was that doorbell. I didn't have that in there. I wanted to kind of see how the day goes before I get final numbers and all that kind of good stuff.
originally I put in 15,000 into our 402 for this. But it was a miscommunication with where it got put, so we'll have to move that as far as I understand. But we will need one desk as well, or an additional desk for the new office space when we get that together.
Logan, one thing on the rendering that you gave to us, is Jamie moving into that spare office then, or is he staying out in the public?
We would probably move him into my office, and my office would move down. But we haven't actually figured out 100% where people would end up in those three spaces.
Is there a way to do this where if you were to have that third office put in and the shelving and whatnot inside, My concern is locking off that media room because we have, obviously, members of the board use it, the attorneys upstairs use it from time to time. Is there a way to separate that, I guess, just so it's not locked up? Because how often is IT gonna need the media room for, you know, conference room versus how often is the board member or the attorney is going to need it?
That was my main thing, because I can tell you right now, I have used that, we have used that office quite a bit. And it's a lot easier than, you know, if Jesse wasn't, back in the day, we had that office space where Jesse is, Mary Catherine moved in there. And I think what's happened is over time, that during that time, we've kind of bumped meetings and stuff. I can't even tell you how many meetings I've had down there. And my concern is you don't need to be involved in every single meeting, like I got a meeting with Parks meetings, or whatever it is. So, you know, looking at this, I guess my concern is, and I'm still 10 by 10, did you think that space where you had, Kim, was like 10 feet wide? Was that sufficient? Seems kind of, doesn't seem like 10 feet. My concern too is if you put in this wall going across, and I didn't measure that, what is that, 3 feet, 2 inches? What's a normal hallway? Would that be that probably wouldn't be.
That's pretty narrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the measurements that are on the drawing are rough, because I'm not actually 100% sure where they're gonna end up. So it's like roughly 10 by 10 is what will be left after the walls were added.
Oh, and this, actually, this wall I'm looking at, it looks like you put an X on it. So that would come out.
Yeah, it would basically be flipping that wall.
And I don't know, are any of these load bearing? Do we know that?
I don't believe so, but that'd be a better question for Nick.
Well, if you pull it down and the ceiling caves in, then it was a load bearing wall.
That's a good test. We could just leave the door as is, then just add the other door, or leave it, or we can add a door later. So that leaving the meeting room accessible or the conference room accessible there is not an issue.
Because we could still do the pass-through drop box. You could probably do either on that internal door where your door is right now, either right to the right of that and we go into the IT storage lab, possibly.
Maybe that just depends on if.
What's the purpose of the Dropbox?
So sometimes when we're out of the office, we get people who drop off, like computers or laptops. And
Okay,
if we're not there, sometimes they'll leave it in the hallway.
I gotcha.
And that's currently like a public space.
Yeah,
Oh, I did forward that. I found a Dropbox for you. I sent it
Oh,
over.
did you? Okay.
Yeah, remember the other night?
Oh, yeah, the locker.
Yeah, you like that one, right?
Yeah.
Where were you putting this Dropbox?
In the closet in the meeting room currently. If the door was moved, it would have just been a convenient spot for it. But we were thinking if we could get like a used pass-through evidence locker from another county, if they had a jail or
Oh,
something.
where
Purpose.
that 18 square foot closet is?
Yeah, yep.
Oh, okay.
The ones that are marked with asterisks are if it's feasible or if the costs are low enough, but not critical to what we're trying to do.
I do have a concern about getting rid of or limiting the access to that conference room also myself, because I've actually been in there before myself and being a novice here or a rookie, but and I also, I don't, is this I don't normally how this kind of thing goes for these type of projects? Cause
Yeah, the stuff should come before the facilities board or whatever for review and approval. I know we do have a bunch of other projects, so, and again, I don't know how big of a project this is. I know there's other projects that we need to complete, and I'll give you one, treasurer's office. We need to finish those walls, but that's a minor thing, but this, I think when you start removing walls and adding walls, that's gonna be more than just a, couple day project. Especially where, like I said, when you're cutting openings through, I don't know what the wall is there. I think that actually is a drywall there, so
So that's
that's,
drywall.
Not all of it is drywall, is it?
Not all of it, that where the wall will be coming out is drywall, and I do believe that is, just a floating wall. And you've got space on that one, but there, I mean, with the rest of it, I haven't got up in the ceiling. Like I said, I wanted to see if this approval goes through before we can kind of really get involved in it and
yeah, because this, like I said, you're moving a lot of doors here, cutting openings, removing walls, adding walls.
Logan, what is the 40 square foot space between the server room and Kyle's office?
That is where the main water main is for
Oh, okay.
both houses.
And we have a sliver of, that sliver is missing on the building. I've never noticed that.
No, I think it's just a really, like in between the Kyle's office and that 40
Yeah.
feet. Yeah, I think it's just a really big concrete wall.
Oh,
What do you think, what's your thoughts, Nick, with the floor covering in that space? If we start moving walls around, all of a sudden you're gonna have to do some of the flooring.
right, and we've got a, price, talked to y'all, I'll have that price in front of me, actually. But even, even that's gonna be a drawn out process, cause I mean, all that carpet's gotta come out, walls gotta be laid, and then the flooring redone. If we cut it in that conference room and leave that, I don't know how that's gonna, till we get really involved, that's gonna be the question.
Yeah, I would think that at least the area that is Jamie's office space plus the area that's robbed from the media room, that one whole room at least is gonna need new floor covering in it.
And I haven't, to be honest, I haven't even looked at the air ducts in there, how that's gonna work if we build that wall. Is there a return and supply in his office and the conference room, how's that gonna affect the comfort of that room and I mean, just like I said, I wanted to get approval before we really got involved in this, but I mean, right now, just material wise, as far as drywall and paint and all that kind of stuff, I mean, I'm at $4,000 already, and that does not include hauling this stuff off to the dumpsters, I mean, we've still got numbers to add to that 4,000.
What if we just took the green wall by the proposed new office, made it go all the way to the end where the red and blue meet and put that door on that wall going from that office into Jamie's current office, and then just kind of leave the other doors and everything in place for this year?
That's sort of what the drawing has on there, just because it's got the new wall going up. And then the blue would be an existing one that wouldn't be removed, and the red one would have to be flipped for that door to be able to fit. Because the space there's only 3 feet or so that there would have to be a wall moved into the conference room slightly.
What if we put the door going into Jamie's office instead of into the conference room?
Oh, you're saying like the north side of it?
Yeah,
Okay.
and then we would only have to add one door. And we wouldn't have to add the other wall and door. And then we could get by without moving the door in Kyle's current office, just as a cost savings, but to still get things in motion,
Mhm.
And then we would, since we're adding a wall, we would only have to disturb a little bit of flooring, not tear a bunch out,
Are you talking about?
making a wall right here.
Okay.
And then the door would be on the blue wall,
Oh, okay.
just a thought. And maybe it's something you could even look at, Todd, and share your professional opinion, See what you think.
Yeah, why don't you and I get together and take a look at that together,
Sounds good.
so we got a little better insight on what all is involved. I can do that yet this week.
Just on the consent calendar then, after review, you guys can let us know what you find next Tuesday.
Yeah, I think so.
Does that work? Okay.
Good. Well, let's.
what did he just say?
Put it on the calendar, or I guess not the consent calendar, put it on the agenda for consideration next week.
Yep.
After.
Yeah, Nick and I will get together and take a look at it. So,
Okay.
all right, thank you. Nick, you're up.
Good morning.
Right.
Guess I'll get a copy of this.
Yep.
Okay. Employments are looking good for the year starting out. We're up, or 260 over last year's employments. Even with the weather, we've been having, more than 35 passengers per plane. So we're just about full considering we only can, fit 50. So numbers, if we continue, we're going to keep going up. Fuel sales. For January, the contract fuel was 21,417 gallons, and we did 17,000 last January. So again, this time of year, we start picking up with fuel because of deviation if they have to go to another airport. The retail jet's down. That is due to weather. We haven't been able to get lighter aircraft in because of the winds and weather conditions. The same with the retail, the 100 low lead. It hasn't been suitable flying weather. All the equipment's up and running. We just filled all the bulk fluids, so we should be good for another 2 to 3 years on fluids for everything to take care of it. Sand's all in. Like I said, all the equipment's up and running. We'll go down to,
I just stop you real quick?
Yeah.
Just so I understand this. So I'm looking at these on your fuel sales.
yes.
So your top number is,
So the top number is 2025. And then the bottom number is 2026.
okay, so when under SkyWest, it says 17,623, that was 2025's number?
Yes, January 2025.
Okay.
So like I said, we're continuing to climb in fuel sales, which is good because that means since we were new to the fueling game, I think they were a little bit hesitant sending airplanes up here, and they just try to feel you out to make sure that you're going to be able to comply with their needs. So we'll go down to current projects, still with the construction of the T hangars. It looks like that's going to go back out for bid. And talking with RS&H, they'll put it together. We'll send it out for bid. The project still should start spring of 2026.
Question on that. So if it goes out for bids, how much further behind are we then?
We shouldn't be because it should be taken care of in 30 days. So it'll still be around the same start date.
Because I thought the last one was, the FAA didn't,
So the part of the problem with that was we were waiting on the FAA to approve their end of stuff. Now that they've done that, we're just.
so it doesn't have to go back to them.
Correct.
Okay.
No, the money's already allocated. So we have that sitting there. We just have to get a company that's going to sign on it.
Okay.
So the plows are still on time. So not that's going to do us any good for this year, but next year should be a lot easier for us. Made one change on the plows. We added cameras instead of they had inspection ladders that they would pull down. So the way that they did the build, they called and said, hey, we can't add the ladders. I don't know why they would even put that in and not consider the cameras. But so for our sand hopper and for the rear of the machine, we now have cameras with a video monitoring system in the cabs. So you don't have to get out. You can control the sand spread or the material spread off that camera system. So that was nice, and that was at no additional cost. I'm still trying to get them to throw the GPS systems in them. That still may be a possibility now since they have to go in and wire the cameras. So I may be able to get that thrown in with no extra cost.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, so,
I did find a couple much cheaper alternatives.
okay, I'll let you know because one way or the other, at least one vehicle should have a GPS system in it, just to be out there on the main runway, because I'm sure we're going to be out there again next year.
Right.
On the runway. So the airport layout plan, completed the IFE, scope of work is done. This has been turned into the FAA. Now it's just in their hands and waiting for approval from the FAA. And that's all I have. And you had questions on lease agreement?
Yeah.
For the agenda. Okay, so
That's on the agenda today.
yes. Yeah, and so on the lease agreement, I didn't get any notes with it, but I'm assuming it's for the Avis lease and why it was backdated.
So are we moving on to that now?
Yes, yeah, that's the end of my report for that.
Yeah, so when I went through the lease, when it was on the full board, it was backdated to 1 November. And my question is why, and it's for a 1-year lease, why wouldn't it be effective? Because then 1 year later, it supposedly goes up 3%. Why wouldn't it be back, or why wouldn't it be dated as of the day?
He was on the airfield November.
So he's been using it?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, so he was using that and we were just waiting. He hadn't made payment. So that's why it's backdated. He signed it and agreed. I explained that to him. He's been on doing business with us since November. That's when his lease will start.
What happens if we say no today?
It's that may be an issue.
Yeah.
So it's-
The other thing that I had a question on when I read through the lease, well, I have a couple things on this one. Utilities will be billed, it said. How are you actually going to do that?
So if there was, and that would be something, so the way Avis was set up before, it was in the old terminal. So he actually leased part of the terminal also. This wouldn't apply to this lease, but we do have an office in the new terminal. So if that comes up in the future and we do allow him to use the space, there would be an added charge.
He's not actually even using that space. He's only using the parking.
Just the parking spaces,
Oh.
yes. He doesn't have any space in the terminal at all.
Okay.
So he makes prior arrangements and then he meets his customers right as the flight lands. So there is an option. He has that option if he so chooses it.
Okay. And I know one of the questions that I discussed and kind of answered my own question, when we were at full board, that, how did you come up with the 100 or?
The 50.
Yeah, the 1,500 or,
That was standard lease for those amount. We charge Crossroads the same thing. And they're no longer going to be on the airfield or selling the business. That's why we approached Avis again in November. I had heard rumors that she was going to sell the business. We had charged Crossroads the same amount,
okay.
but this is also from Pellston,
Well,
Traverse City.
I Googled and came up with, there was anywhere between 1,500 to 2,500 and 2,500 someplace like Grand Rapids.
Yes.
Bigger airports.
Yeah. So I did research the other airports in northern Michigan just to establish a base price. Then that can be negotiable if he wants to expand on that, where we lease him more spots in the parking lot in the future. So right now he's good with 4, seems to be holding up on his end of the business.
Then one last thing I know in the past, which you may or may not know, is Steve would come and complain to us about issues with him driving out on the airfield.
Right.
We're not going to get into that again, are we?
No, that's been, and so that was one of the discussions we had is it's, we have to do it, by the book.
Yeah.
We're not gonna, and we'll pull him if it happens again, now we can allow him on the airfield if he has an escort. If he has somebody, and we do that once in a while, we will escort him to aircraft, just be corporate aircraft with numerous people getting off. We'll bring the cars right to the airplane, but he has to have an escort. He can't just run around on the ramp. And then,
He's all right with that at this point. I got that resolved.
yeah, well, he knows the cameras are setting on the gates and we monitor that. Plus I drive the parking lots when I come in and when I leave. So I know how many cars. We had an issue with that in the past too. It started out with a couple cars, then we had, I think, 15, 18 cars in the lot at one time. So we can't have that either. So it hampers our snow removal
Are you
and
talking in the long term or whatever you want to call it, the bigger parking lot? Or
in the bigger parking lot. Plus, and they were in the TSA park, we call it the TSA parking lot to the north.
Yeah.
And there were vehicles there. So he has the 4 spots Crossroads had in the north parking lot.
So the north parking lot is what? That parking lot that's kind of along the side of the airport, or the big humongous?
No, it's by the side of the airport to the north where, over by the gate side.
Yep, where the fence is to the.
Yes.
See?
Yeah, and there's already rental vehicle signs posted there. So there's 4 spots and they know, that way the customers also know where to put the cars. And then did you have a question on lease assignment?
Yes.
Okay.
What actually is being leased? Because it's in the thing, it says Exhibit A, but I didn't see an Exhibit A.
Okay, so, and that was on the car rental again?
Nope.
Or was that on,
I think the next thing with you,
it's okay on mine? So Exhibit A was incorrect. I should have removed it from that. So what it is, it's 1/4 of a quad hangar. I purchased the hangar and these are ground leases out there. So what I'm doing is just transferring the lease from the previous owner to myself. I purchased the hangar and I've already put insurance and everything on the building.
So you're purchasing or leasing 1/4 of the hangar or the whole hangar?
No, 1/4. It's one slot. There's, like I said, it's a quad hangar, so there's 4 aircraft in one building.
Okay. When I read that lease, I was just kind of confused because I'm like, what are we actually leasing here? Because it
Right.
didn't, and then when I saw Exhibit A, I didn't know what Exhibit A was, and then I'm like.
And I needed to revamp that for any future leases, but I can get you a copy of that also
Okay,
and show you how the quads work on those hangars.
okay.
That'd probably be helpful.
Okay. Yeah, I can get that.
So I guess we need to go back because we jumped ahead. So
Okay.
need to make a motion on
And on the
this agreement.
lease agreement with Avis, yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the lease agreement with Avis. Sport Arms.
Any more discussion?
I'd recommend a roll call vote on this one.
Okay.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Kondrashevsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski, Commissioner Britton.
Yes.
Then I would assume we'd have to do the same thing for the lease assignment of the lease. You will get me a copy or get us a copy of that.
I'll get you the layout of the quad hangars because we have 2 sets on the airport. But I'll show you how it's described on the airport layout plan.
Okay,
And then you'll have a description. Each hangar is individually, the hangar is individually owned. We pay a land lease on that
Right.
every year. So, and then we have our own utilities. Everybody has a box on the outside, so we pay our own utilities, insurances. So it's separate. We're just actually leasing the land.
so when you're done leasing this, are you taking your quarter with you?
No, only one person actually tried that.
I know.
So it didn't pan out all that well. So,
Okay,
All right. So I guess I would entertain a motion to go ahead and to get this lease assignment taken care of, subject to him getting your,
I'll make the motion.
I'll support.
any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved.
right.
Thank you. Shell.
Yeah. So I don't really have anything to say or prepared as far as that goes. I did have some communications with Jesse post fair of 2025, just kind of inquiring questions about camping on the infield again. And if you guys recall, last time we were in here, we kind of talked about having that following up meeting to take care of 2026 so that we didn't sit here again asking the questions of the permission for that permit. So I guess I don't really have any questions because I was told that it can't happen. Other than, I suppose, I originally did ask why it couldn't happen or what the barriers were to understand, because I do know there's about 15 people again on a wait list that don't have a campsite for fair. But I don't,
So
I got asked to come to the meeting, so I assumed that there was questions for me.
Are we already full with the main?
Campground is full.
How many sites, are there in that overflow?
We can, the permit that we usually pull is $196, and that's from one campsite to 19. There is 3 tiers that they can go up, but we've always just did the 19 for just the lowest, because we've always had just the low number for the camping.
Yeah, I think we've only ever opened it up to 10.
and those are rustic sites, correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
those are supposed to be rustic.
Which means no electricity.
No electricity, no campfires, burn pits, anything like that. It's supposed to be just
Tents or trailers or whatever.
right.
So part of the issue was last year when we met here and talked about doing these camp spots. We talked about costs that the county has to incur in order to create these spots. So it's $196 with, I think, an additional 95, did you say, for other supplies and stuff in order to create them. We were told by 4-H at that meeting, and you all have the recording that I sent you yesterday, that they would cover all those costs.
That was my personal campsite that I said 4-H would pay for. So 4-H wrote a check to the county for my campsite and Cheryl Wright's
We
campsite.
talked about the permits though, and after we were talking about the permits, you said 4-H would cover it. We
Yeah.
have the recording. So the issue was, we then sent the invoice for the permits and there was questions and basically pushback on paying them. And at that time, it was just a matter of
Yeah, and
not wanting to have to deal with this for a third year.
really, you said that we will pay it.
Yeah, I watched the video too, but it was cut out of an entire conversation.
Well, the discussion right before.
I was to send you that, I can send you the whole
It's
thing,
fine.
but what I sent to the commissioner,
But-
so I don't know who sent it to.
Well, so are we getting the money from the
Correct.
sites?
Yes, you guys would have made over about $2,000 last year from the campsites. With
How much are the-
a cost of $200 for the permit.
I think we made about $1,095.
Because the primitive, we only charge 25 because it's supposed to be primitive. But there are 2 electrical poles out there that the 2 parties use every year. That's never been in consideration because this has only happened twice. We pulled records from the health department the first year
Correct,
when
yeah.
Patrick was here. That was a mistake on his part, overbooking from what I've been told, so we did it then. And then I guess it worked well, so we did it next year, but there was questions brought up and then with, we've had conversations with the fair board. It's not like it's a norm, the first year, even the second year, they didn't have harness racing, so they were able to go in there, get full utilization of that campground, use it how they see fit. Well, now there's an event that they cannot be on that campground until after the harness race, which is Sunday. So, we're talking Sunday night, these people going on there, setting up camp and then being there for the week. I've talked with the fair board. I mean, there's no opposition to it, but it kind of don't make sense to go through all the hassle for the 5 days in there. You're missing the whole weekend setup. But I mean, that's just, we're gonna talk about, if it's primitive, then it's primitive. They shouldn't be using the power. There was fire pits up there last year. So, I mean, I think if this is gonna be brought into consideration, then we've gotta stick with the rules and make it,
Formulate a plan.
Which we had planned to do. The problem was we didn't get the invoices until later, so we can't really have a plan until we have everything in. As soon as the invoices came, they were provided, and then we were told they weren't paying. So at that point, it's a breach of what was agreed upon last year, and there's just every year we're dealing with something with this plan. And it is about $1,000 minus the 200 for the permit, minus 100 for the supplies to actually create it, minus the power that they're drawing that they're not supposed to be using. I don't know really what it would end up at, but it's just a hassle every year. So is it worth the $400, $500 that we might be walking away with? I don't know.
So it's 25 a site, right?
Yeah, I paid $225 last year.
And there's 19 sites?
Right.
And they can't come in until Sunday, you said?
Sunday or Monday, yeah.
So what do we do, 4 days? Is that right?
I would say most of us stay until the following Sunday,
So 7?
7 days.
And how do they do that? Because I know you do camp spot, right?
Holly does.
What we did in the past was we would open it up to the Fair Board and 4-H. They would have first dibs on any of the spots that they wanted on in the fairgrounds. I think in December, usually we opened it up. And then there would be
They were made aware middle of December,
Yeah.
and January 2nd, I believe, was when.
it's usually like a week or two. So they can get a list over to Holly.
Happened this year.
Holly goes in and enters them in. And that's that. So
How do you enter in like the rustic primitive sites?
she just has to hand enter them into the site, so they can't go in and put them in themselves because the site's not made public until afterward. So she didn't do that this year? The early open?
No. They were open late on top of that this year.
Did she open it up for you guys to reserve?
The Fair Board, we were able to reserve early before it was out.
No camp spot was down.
Yeah,
during
this
one of
year.
those.
Yeah, it was supposed to be opened, I think, or January 2nd at noon or something.
Right.
And it
Something,
didn't open until like the 5th or the 6th.
that was out of our hands, that was out of the county, that was just simply camp spot malfunction or whatever they had going.
I just feel that, again, you know, we do this kind of as a favor. We've had issues with the building being used without permission. And then on top of it, we have people from 4-H blasting the county negatively constantly. I just don't understand why we're doing favors and jumping through hoops when, you know, it's just not working out year after year. Maybe if we have something in writing where, you know, maybe we can't do just a verbal handshake agreement. Maybe we need something a little bit more Loctite. I don't know.
Well, I guess I have a problem with if people are actually, it's supposed to be rustic and they're plugging into the power pole that's wherever the campsites are. Kind of defeats if they're gonna do that, then I think then those sites should be whatever if you're gonna do it, they should be charged.
The same, right?
Well, whatever.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, and but then that requires him to kind of police that, because he's gonna have to go out there and double check to see if people are playing by the rules, and if they're not, then.
And one of the solutions that we had talked about last year fair was actually taking and creating 10 rustic sites and camp spots so that there wasn't the extra work that only opened up during Fair Week, so that the work was done from the people who would use camp spot, and then you would, if there was rustic sites already in existing, we would know which ones, I suppose. It's not a real electric hookup either, so there's that, but you would know which ones, I suppose, you could charge $35 versus the 25.
So is this like in the ball field where
To the left of it, if you
Yeah.
come in where the ball field was to your left, we put the temporary to the right. And it's gotta be for their event, for the Fair Board's event, we have to be 25 foot off of the track before the temporary campground starts. And then you have to snow fence the entirety of the temporary campsites, and then you have to mark out, I think it's like 15 or 20 by.
I think it was like 20 by 20 or
Yeah, something
something.
like that, and then you have to draw the lines in, and then the health department comes out, inspects, and then we're good.
And you think you have 15 people already that would book?
At least 10, I know that are on the wait list.
I guess it seems to me that we just have a communication problem and we need to work a little harder at trying to get this put together so we don't have any more misunderstandings. I think it's important that obviously that 4-H is involved in the fair. And so we need to facilitate that, even if it is a little bit somewhat uncomfortable. We need to work at making it less uncomfortable. That's my opinion.
So I would make a motion, I guess, and I'll take the reins to postpone this until Tuesday for full board. And I'll work with Jesse and the Fair Board to put together a formal, protocol, I guess, if you will, for these sites. And then we can, have something in black and white to propose and see if it's something that we can all agree on.
So you're asking to table it?
Yeah, I would look for I would make a motion to table this until Tuesday's full board.
I'll support.
Any more discussion?
Yeah, I think just a comment though. I mean, I know 4-H, the numbers for the kids participants has gone up. So I mean, if it does continue to go up, I mean, I know if we want everyone on the same grounds, I mean, it might be something we might have to continue every year.
I agree. I think it needs to be considered the amount of money that it's costing the county, the amount of time it's costing the county, the fact that we're doing, we should be doing each other a favor, I think, in this regard. But when we go online and we see 4-H attacking the county and we're spending time and money to try making it work, I think that needs to be considered as well.
Oh, I agree with you, 100%.
So.
Yeah, I just think we need to all get on the same page. I think
Well, and I think.
if we put it in right, we put things in writing and then
Yeah.
everybody sticks to it and we won't have a problem in the future.
So we're gonna give that to Travis and he's gonna get it under control.
Yeah.
There you go.
Travis and Jesse. Okay. so-
And Michelle and the fair board. Anything else?
I think I have your number, but if not, I'll get it and we'll get together in short order and come up with a plan here that will work for everybody.
Yeah. And I just want to say, like, I agree with like maybe the miscommunication because it was never my intention to ruffle feathers and I don't know what things are being said on behalf of 4-H or this internet massacre. I don't know anything about that. I mean, it's never my intention to have anything. It was just purely, I was under the understanding that we were going to work together to solve the problem last year. And like I said, I got asked to come to this. I did ask some questions of like, what were the barriers? Can we help with the barriers? So just to clarify, it was never my intention for it to be something that was a negative impact on 4-H or anything like that. So just that it's needed and not understanding the barriers for it.
I think you got the right man on the job now.
All right, thank you.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Nick, you're up.
Well, so pretty much we've got, as we talked about today, we've got a lot of projects coming up. And a lot of them, we are in the number stage. We're getting everything worked out, figured out. And then we gotta figure out timing. You know, which projects we wanna get done first, and then which projects are gonna be able to get done if we have weather or anything, you know, cause I've got 5 guys. And if we get weather, that means I have maybe 1 guy to continue cleaning buildings, continue whatever. The rest of us are sidewalks, plowing, whatever. So, I mean, I think it can be done, but I think the time, especially, you know, with this room, getting, you know, the meetings done, getting everything, you know, I think it's gonna have to be done in stages. I think there's gonna have to be some overtime involved just so we can do the timing. You know, I think we can get this room painted in a weekend if we focus just on painting this room. And so I think there's definitely time to get them done. I think we just got to sit down and get everything worked out.
What kind of projects do you have coming up?
We've got Howard Mail, the IT department. That's been a big one that we've been talking about working on. Other than that, I think we've got a
Treasurer's office.
treasurer's office. We got to get that wall done.
Actually, weren't you actually painting those offices as well?
Well, yeah, we're supposed to be painting. That's part of the project. We're supposed to be doing all the offices. That would just happen to be a special wall that decided to leave us.
Fair, Merchants Building?
Merchants Building, we've got that. The upstairs courthouse, that's another office that's cracking and peeling. We've been keeping an eye on it, hadn't seen any water. We did find a few spots on the roof that were, okay, well, if the snow melts and the wind blows from the east, then it could go down that little hole. So we found a few places, got it fixed, and we hadn't seen water coming through. But there again, there's another office sitting there that we've got to scrape, get down, paint, and so we've got our hands full. But like I said, I mean, we're just trying to figure out the timing on everything to make sure everything gets done right. And appeases everybody's schedule, so.
The steps at the courthouse, that's gonna be done by a contractor? Is that right, Jesse?
We were looking at, I guess last time didn't you guys do it in-house?
Yeah, we
mean-
did it in-house last time.
Thought maybe by getting a specialist.
Those are, I'm not the technical name for them. I know there's some type of Italian stone that were brought somewhere. They're very heavy. And we leveled off the sand, and for some reason, Wes didn't want to use concrete to bring everything up to level to lay them on. I'm not sure if he knew something that I don't. I'm not real familiar with that expensive stone, but I think something's got to be done because every year we have to at least, or 2 years, I think we can safely say 2 years, but you've got to raise them up and then use that expensive elastic caulking that goes in there. And I mean, it fluctuates.
But once that separates and water gets in, you're done.
Right. And then everything starts kind of tilting and
Freezing and heaving.
I think, if we're gonna tackle that project, I think we really need to get some good people involved that really know about that. So we can do it once and be done with it and don't have to come to it every couple of years. That's about all I got. If y'all got questions.
Anybody else got any questions? All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Rink management?
Okay, I know we had kind of quite a bit of discussion at one of our full board meetings recently. I've continued to do a lot more research and came up with a bunch of information. So I know I've heard Brenda say this, I've heard Bill say this, we all heard Bill say at full board meeting that he thought it was $5 nice. So I was able to get the meeting from, and so the first item we have is the surcharge policy of 2023. So back, and you probably remember it was just like it was yesterday, Travis, but back June of 2023, there was a discussion, and from what I was able to get, there was a discussion with Mary Catherine at the time and Alpena Rink Management to increase the per ticket fee as well as the ice time. So back in 2000, that meeting, the facilities meeting in June, the discussion was to approve the $1.50 per ticket increase and $3 per hour of ice time. So that was approved along with a new modified surcharge policy back in 23. That went to the full board. When it got to the full board, we had another discussion. It was, at first, I'm like, this doesn't make sense, but I looked at it. Someone pulled that item from the consent calendar. It was me. Someone pulled that item. We had a discussion at full board. And then one of the things that the surcharge included, I think it was, at the time, that was the reason it was pulled, was because of buying equipment. And so we modified the equipment line to say items over $5,000 because I don't think it specified. So again, it was approved both at the facilities and at full board. I did more research and looked, and for whatever reason, and again, I don't know the conversation. I know that the discussion happened between Jessica, Jeremy, Dave Guzman, and Mary Catherine in a meeting. I'm not sure what happened. I know they know that this was approved. Since 2023, we've never received any increase. I'm not sure why we didn't. I know at the 2023 June facility meeting, Bill LaHaye was at that meeting and he mentioned, because there was a discussion about how do we track this? How will we know that this is being done? And someone said, well, unless we're going there doing it, we can't actually know what the actual numbers are. So we'll trust that they'll do the right thing. And again, I'm just bringing this up because we had a pretty lengthy conversation. I've done some more research. I was asked what my plan was. And I am the type of person, I do not want to be left in a position where we're stuck and someone has, if you will, something over us that we're the only thing, or that's the only thing that we're able to go with. But I guess my concern is that we didn't, this was literally approved full board and that money never, I'm not saying we're going to go back and get it now because we just did approve something for the increase, which is, I think, was it 5 or was it the 3?
5.
5, okay. But my point is that, and I don't know how to, I guess, fix this or see this, because I think what happened was we all approved that at that full board, and then we went on our merry ways to the next thing. I don't know if I don't know how we could have corrected that to make sure that we're actually getting that. Again, I guess it goes back to Alpena Rink management being part of those conversations, knowing that this was approved, and then they should have done their part to make sure the actual surcharge money was actually coming in. I guess, like I said, it's water under the bridge at this point with that, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware that we did, because I know I've talked to Brenda a few times, and she kept saying, I thought we approved an increase on that. And again, my focus, we were part of that discussion. The full board was part of that discussion in 2023. But my focus was because of how the surcharge was, I figured, yep, we're good. I didn't really think too much about that surcharge increase for the $1.50 and the $3. But I just think that, and again, I don't know how we fix this. I don't know how when stuff is approved, how do we go back and make sure, unless we are following up on it and say, go back to the treasurer, somebody does that, I can do that. I don't know. We can figure that out, but I just.
Still supplying us with quarterly reports? Does the rink still supply us with quarterly reports?
Well, so they go to the treasurer's office, and again, I had to specifically ask, the treasurer will forward me the financial reports. But when you're just looking at a financial report, that doesn't tell you the surcharge increase. So I did ask, I said, how do they submit that? And then they have a separate document that they're submitting that says right on the document, $1 per ice time, $1 per ticket. So it says right on it, 25 hours or whatever it is. And then they, do the math and that's what they're submitting to the treasurer's office. So I've never seen those until I started asking about this from the treasurer's office. I will now moving forward, make sure that, and they're aware that increase has happened. So they'll make sure that the documents are corrected. But again, like I said, after digging into this, I think it was Jennifer, I'll give her one kudo today, was able to give me, find this, and I don't want to take it away from you, Kim, if you were the one that found it, but one of the two of them were able to find, because I had asked some questions and they dug into it and found the actual minutes or the meeting, the Zoom meeting. So Tuesday night, whatever it was, sat home, watched a really exhilarating facility meeting. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that we did approve that. And I know we've had a number of conversations where this was a discussion either between Bill and Brenda, remembering that something was approved, but not, I guess, the specific.
I definitely remember us talking about it and approving it.
Yeah.
So it was never really implemented,
So when it went to the treasurer, I don't know, because I know I got emails where there was discussion between Alpena Rink Management and Mary Catherine at the time, but there was nothing after that that we would have, if there was a discussion to say, well, we're not going to do this, I don't know what the discussion was with Mary Catherine. I just know that after digging into it, looking at the minutes and the actual video Zooms from the meetings, that this was approved. Everyone went on their way, and we were expecting that this increase was coming in for the surcharge, and it did. And again, I don't think we're going to go back and say you owe us, because I don't want to do that, but I think that it needs to be addressed that, they did approve it, we did approve it as a board. I think we just need to pay more attention to the stuff, and whether that's, again, double checking, following up to make sure that the increases, if we're approving an increase. And again, if we do that, I don't have a problem going back and double checking. But I guess I wouldn't have thought if it was approved, that we would have had to double check that. So anyway, that's all that I have, unless anyone has anything on that.
So that said, I guess the $5 was approved at this point. So, and when would that start? Because I don't know how they operated, because it would have to be after this season's over, because everybody's already
No, I
committed.
would assume that we approved that increase, which would have gone into their contract, which starts in April. So I would
Okay.
assume that effective April, that increase should start.
That change was made to the contract, so yeah, April would be the start.
So as of right now, what are they paying? The $1.50
They're
or?
not paying, they're paying $1 and $1. $1 for a ticket, $1 for the ice time. And I don't know, I mean, I guess for the until April, we could, because we did approve it. I'm not sure we could have a conversation to find out why they didn't approve it, or not approve it, but change the amounts that they were paying us, because it was approved at a full board. And again, I talked to Kim, because I was a little concerned because it didn't get approved on the consent calendar at that full board meeting, but I pulled it to have further discussion regarding equipment that we were paying for out of the surcharge fund, not the actual increase.
Yeah, I remember we talked a lot about the Zamboni and the improvements to that, whatnot. So to be clear, April 2026, what are the costs going to be?
Well,
The per ticket is the same, but the ice time was going up $5 an hour.
But then
It was going up to $5 an hour.
but I would then, again, I don't know what you guys' thoughts are, because we did approve this. It's now come to our attention that I think we have to have the discussion, because I think because we approved that, I feel like that we should I'm not saying to go back the 3 years, but because we know that it was approved, I think even from now until April, we should have those changes.
Yeah, are those payments made to us quarterly?
To check.
I thought it's monthly.
Okay.
I think when they turn in a submittal to the treasurer's office, and I did have a copy of one. I didn't look to see if, I believe it's monthly, because it was for that time period, and that, I think it was January, or maybe it was December. I don't remember the specific date, so.
So what I can do is, when I go back to my office, I'll go through, I'll work with IT to go through and see if we can find communication between Mary Catherine and them in her old email. I'll check to make sure the board action made its way to the proper offices, after that meeting. And then I'll produce a letter that we can maybe approve on Tuesday, to go to them, basically just saying, going forward, we need this correction that was made,
Right.
not retroactively, but just going forward,
Right.
from 2020.
I remember that conversation.
I know, you've told me, you had a number of conversations, and you said, I could have sworn
They
that it
wanted
was.
more, and Mary Catherine said no. I remember that.
Yeah.
And that's where that 50 cents was brought up. I remember the conversation. I do.
So 26 contract is listed at $150 and $5.
No. So the contract, because the one that we did said $1 per ticket.
Mhm.
Because I don't think anyone, when we had that discussion the other day, I don't think anyone, you didn't mention it. And again, I didn't have this information when we had that full board meeting to say it was 150, because I think if it was, and we've already approved this, and I guess Jesse will be able to provide more information. And I think what would have been approved, I would assume what would have been approved is the 150 and the 5.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think it should be up to the 150, not retroactive, but starting as of today, really.
It'll be at Tuesday's meeting, right? Once you guys approve the letter, I'll have
So
it.
we make a motion on that?
Well, I don't know if there's a motion right now to be made because
I said, should we?
No, I don't, no, you give me my orders to have a letter. I'll just add it to
Okay.
the agenda as new.
yeah, because the motion was, there was a motion that
I
was already
understand that,
approved, so.
but it's, yeah.
And then the next item that I just wanted to talk about was the email. So again, me looking at the stuff, I was talking to the treasurer's office and I remembered that we approved the dehumidifier for the rink back in August. And I remember that motion that we made, there was a portion of that money. They said at the time, because it was August, financials, whatever, they couldn't afford to cover the portion that they needed to cover, which was 4,500. So I was thinking to myself, did we ever, because I don't remember ever getting, this is again, going back, double checking things. I said, I don't remember seeing anything come back to us to say that we received that 4,500. So I went to the treasurer's office and asked, did we receive that? And this is a kudos to Ricky because she was able to provide me with some information. She found the actual motion that we made, the board action to approve the 31,000 for the dehumidifier with $4,500 being paid back to the county before the end of 2025. So that's why I was concerned, because I'm like, if we didn't get that back, I just need to know, did they repair it? How did it get repaired? What happened? So I reached out, with the board action, had a copy of the invoice from Controlled Dehumidification. I found the number, gave him a call, asked, I have a question. I told him I'm who I was from Alpena County, just following up on the dehumidification repair at the Northern Lights Arena. Just wanted to find out if that ever got repaired. I was told when I called up, we gave a quote. We've not heard back from that original quote. And I said, okay, well, they said something about adding me to the email. I'm like, no, I don't need to be added to the email. I just was trying to check to see if this was taken care of. I then I just emailed Jeremy and I think Jessica to get an update, which I think you guys have a copy of that email chain and how that went. To ask if the dehumidifier was actually repaired. And I just wanted to point out a couple things that okay, so a couple of the things. So I don't know, I mean, you can read the email. I'm sure you've read the email. If you read, and mine was pretty basic, just wanted to follow up, see if this was ever repaired. I called Controlled Dehumidification just to see if it was taken care of. Do you have any updates on what happened? And I'll be honest with you, when I got this email back from Jeremy, I was, to say the least, extremely, I'll say, ticked off. Because as a county commissioner, it is my right, and I'm going to use you, Travis, because I know you've done a lot to go out to the airport to check stuff, and you've given us information, and I appreciate everything that you've done with the airport stuff. And you know better probably with a lot of that equipment, how things have gone. So if you put any of yourselves in the situation where you ask a simple question, and I'll be honest with you, his response came off as attitude towards me. And he literally said, well, he said he will not reply back to me unless I have Jesse and the full board. And I took that like, I'm not responding to you. You're nothing to me. I don't have to email you. And called Brenda. I mean, I called Brenda for a lot of stuff and we talked. And she said, just add me to the email when you respond back to him. Because I said, oh, believe me, I'm going to respond. And I did respond. And, I'm not, you saw what I put there. And to me, that first line states my position and what my authority is. I am the board chair, and it doesn't matter whether I'm the board chair. Travis, you as a concerned commissioner, if you have any questions on anything that the county is responsible for, you have every right to look into it. And that's how I felt. I was asking a simple question because we did have $4,500 that we were supposedly getting back. And again, it probably was a little bit, it was probably a little bit much that I went with my response, but everything I said in this email was 100% true. He's telling me that I needed to include the entire board plus Jesse on that. That's a violation of the Open Meetings Act. If we start going back and forth in an email, we're violating the open meetings. His contract states that he's supposed to provide us with monthly facility reports, different reports, an operations report, which I've never, other than him coming occasionally and giving us an update. The things that we should know as a board of commissioners, because that is our facility there, and we have every right to, and again, I hate to keep throwing you under the bus, or not really under the bus, but using you as an example, you have been crucial with the stuff, the equipment at the airport, in the last probably year and a half, 2 years. And again, I appreciate everything you've done. So this is, I guess, my way of just keeping up and following up and making sure that a facility that we own is maintained and properly taken care of to our standards. And I don't know, I would think that we're in a contractor or leasor position. We own the building, they're leasing it from us. I just think that he needs to take a step back and realize that he isn't the one in charge. It's ultimately still our building. And if anything happens with that building, and I've said this numerous times, that we're the ones that are going to be paying the cost of any upgrades or repairs. So I'm not trying to be secretive on anything. It was never my intent. My intent was just to say, Jeremy, did this ever get repaired? I'm just asking because I just want to know if it was repaired and
rightfully so, because we've been struggling to get feedback.
yeah. Well, and I'm not sure, I really don't understand what his comment was during the negotiations, part of the contract negotiations, that there was no transparency and communications. I guess, I mean, I don't know if that was directed at me specifically or us as a board. I know, and again, as a commissioner, I have literally, if I've ever had a question, I can honestly tell you that if I've ever had a question about a specific department or item, I've never been shy about going to check up on that particular item. So if I did have a question for Jeremy, I would have asked. So I'm not really 100% sure what the lack of transparency and communication was, because I think he came and presented to us, and I think everyone had the opportunity to ask questions. And then I think what happened was that he may not have realized or thought that maybe he just assumed we were going to extend the contract for 3 more years. I don't know. And when we did the 1 year, he probably felt slighted or whatever. I don't know. I can't answer that. But anyway, I just wanted to put this out there that, again, I would never question. I would appreciate that if you guys have questions, that you would go to whoever you need to. I would never expect or criticize or be, to me, rude to you for asking questions or seeking answers that are going to be beneficial for the county and probably the rest of the board. So I think I've said enough. So I just wanted to put that out there.
All right, thank you. Has everybody looked at the recycling reports?
Yes.
Anybody have any questions,
I
comments?
do. Did you, John? When was the last meeting you had with the board and was that other?
No, so the next meeting is actually next Thursday.
Oh, okay, so, okay.
Oh, well, so I will, thanks for asking, just to give facilities a heads up, and I don't know if you're aware of this. Apparently, and you probably know more about this stuff, but DeVere moved forward with something. We had a meeting in January. I kind of mentioned that there was some major cuts, or we needed to make some major cuts. I think it was about 800,000. We cut about 400 and I'm just going to say 425,000. So we got it down about half. I just was at a meeting last week, Monday, and was notified that we're over $1 million short on what it's going to cost us now. So even though we made those cuts, we're back to, I don't know if we're going to be able to move forward with this project right now.
How did this get to this point?
Well, probably costs, well, here's probably, and again, you would know better when you're talking building costs. A lot of these, when they did the, I guess, the bid proposal, it wasn't exact numbers because they didn't have they don't have the drawings.
Yeah, then my opinion, the RFP was not real solid.
Yeah, it was pretty weak. I mean, it just.
Or it was put out on more of on sort of a, like a design build basis, but really not even. I don't think there was enough information.
And so when you get into the fire suppression system, the actual linear feet of fire suppression, wiring, all these costs, they said were actually higher than, and we still don't even have the actual drawings for everything. This was just an estimation. And there was, I think there was a tariff increase, like I think it was.
There have been some significant material cost increases.
Yeah. So I'll know more on next Thursday after our meeting to see where we are at that point.
Okay. Thank you.
So I'd like a motion to, or I'm looking for a motion to receive and file these recycling reports.
I'll make a motion to receive and file the recycling reports.
I'll support. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Nick, are you taking care of the fairground manager monthly report?
Yeah, it's been pretty quiet. We've only had a few issues. Since last time, we had one lady, resident of the shelter. Evidently, she had about 9 garbage bags full of stuff. And she come to the shelter, she stayed with them. And then I guess she left and said, I'm gonna come back and get my stuff. Well, Monday morning, I'm at the dealership and I'm looking at my Ring camera and I've got a lady with trash bags and blankets walking all over the fairgrounds, and then she proceeded to grab one of the pallets off the pile and climb in the dumpster. So first thing we think, okay, she's dumpster diving. Well, we found out later the shelter threw her belongings away because she didn't come back and get them, I guess, within their time frame. So when she come back, she's climbing in the dumpster to get her stuff out. So didn't really hear how, you know, what happened after that. I just know she moved on from the fairgrounds and with all of her belongings. So other than that, it's been kind of quiet.
Was it good stuff or like her just personal?
I'm not sure. They were in garbage bags, so they were in our dumpster.
I do have one other question. So, and I didn't want to ask earlier, but when we were talking about the 4-H and the fair board and stuff like that, I noticed you had a huge deposit for campground, like was it the beginning of January?
Uh-huh.
What was that from? Was it from the fairground 4-H?
Right.
Okay. I was wondering maybe, because I'm like, I didn't know the fairgrounds, people were like beating the door down to get a campsite.
Oh, they are, but like the
For
4-H,
the fair
yeah,
time.
they try, but there's enough, like he said, the 4-H community is growing. So that number's getting higher, and I don't believe there's any public on the campsites. I do believe every campsite is either a vendor for the fair or either 4-H.
Okay. Well, I just, like I said, it stuck out at me when I was going through the reports and it was like over 11,000 and then it was like 250, 360, for the month. I'm like, huh, something happened in the first week of January. Okay.
What's this painting or, oh, I see. Going to paint. Okay, got it.
All right, anything else? All right. Next meeting is Wednesday, March.
Right, Chairman, you need somebody to accept a file motion.
Oh,
I'll
the
make a
fairground
motion,
manager report.
Yes, sir.
make a
Okay.
motion to accept and file.
I'll support.
All those in favor?
I,
Any opposed? All right, motion carried. Okay, anyway, next meeting is March 18th. Right here. Look for motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
support.
Meeting's adjourned.